Got that motherfucker loud about. Hey, they already know what it do, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? I'm the one that's supposed to do, nigga. That's why you niggas ain't got on. You feel me? I'm here, nigga. Oh, some real nigga shit.
I'm a OG, that's all it is to it. Your whole little clique, I run straight through it. The money you got, I already blew it. And when you tryna get to, I'm already to it. Yeah, young ski ass, this is face off. This shit free, but the next gon' cost. Yeah, this year free, but the next I floss. Man, when you this hard, you don't need no salt. Bring the hook back.
Y'all know what the fuck it is, man. Nigga, you know what I'm saying? Get out the fucking way, nigga. Yeah.
I never ever wanted to do all that I done, but I had fun and still had a gun. I ride through slow and niggas still run. That's why I wonder why I really never seen it come. Man, he was my nigga. 8-spoon coon, high school hotels, 2 bedrooms, bell at noon, street consume. I'm coming in fresh, no scars, no wounds, and I don't like snitches and they don't like me. I got 3 words, 2, 2, 3, and by 3 verbs, you know me. I'm coming out hard, MJG, yeah, I know niggas, and niggas know me. And I spell snitches, R.I.P. And I dig ditches, 6 feet deep, bro, rent is real beef shit. I don't even sleep, bring the hooks back.
Alright, nigga, get him up, bang, bang. Y'all know what this shit do, nigga. Nigga, nigga, sacrifice some shit, nigga. Give it all up, nigga. Okay.
Styles on plenty, yeah, I'm a group. 0 to 60 seconds, shit, I'm a coupe. To all my blood niggas, I'm like swoop. And to my crib homies, cuz keep it true blue. See, you gon' do you, and I'ma do me. Unless you a bitch, and I do 3. And then I'm like switch, and let them do me. Oh, I call you, bitch, don't call me. DJ Khaled, brown paper bag. I'm getting it from the future, fuck what I used to have. Renegotiate, fuck what I used to grab. I need it from the dock, all white blocks. I be like stop, and me go like go. I like to make it rain, he like to make it snow. I just wanna drink, he'll take a hit or blow. And when I be like I'm through, he be like one more, bring the hooks back.
Yeah. I told you I get it in. Fuck you in. Look, poop, I see you, baby. They know what it is, man. They know what it is, man. Nigga ain't had a motherfucker forever, man.
I'm sorry, guys. Just bear with me. I don't know why it's not sharing my screen, but it's showing me that it's sharing. Okay, guys, I really do apologize. I know what was going on. It was because I had my virtual background on both of my computer screens. So, again, I apologize. So, this is the story that we are going to be touching on today. It is 7 dead, 3 children killed, plus the shooter dead at Covenant School here in Nashville, Tennessee today. So I'm going to show this quick video, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about it. And I'm going to give you my thoughts. And if you want to give me your thoughts, leave your thoughts in the comments and just let me know what you feel about the situation.
Good morning. I'm Vicki Yates. We begin Talk of the Town with breaking news. Metro police are on the scene of an active aggressor. Cole Johnson is at the 5 Alert Weather Center and has the latest details. Cole, what can you tell us about what's going on?
Well, Vicki, a lot of information pouring in right now. We know that this at the Covenant School. It's a preschool through 6th grade private Christian school, and we have confirmed through multiple sources that 3 children were shot. And we do know that there is a reunification center for this. It's at Woodmont Baptist Church. That is the reunification for parents to meet their kids who attend that school. That address is 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. We know that the fire department has said that there's multiple patients, and we did confirm through multiple sources that 3 kids were shot. We do know that part of Harding Place is closed according to TDOT, and we do have a traffic camera in the area that we'll be able to show you here momentarily that can show the backup of this area. So this is going to be a massive issue for folks. So make sure that you're staying away from here. We do have multiple crews headed to the scene right now. We have Sky 5 on the way, and we're going to get more information as it continues to come in. We do know that the school has had an active incident training this time last year that was led by a former police officer, and we'll have more information on what happened with that here shortly. But again, this was at the Covenant School that is in the Green Hills area. 3 children shot. This is a preschool through 6th grade school, and it's private and Christian. Again, the reunification center, parents, if you're listening, that is Woodmont Baptist Church. That address again is 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. And the address for the school is 33 Burton Hills Boulevard. We're still working to get more information, and we're hoping to have a crew there on scene here shortly. Again, we have multiple crews on the way there, Sky 5 on the way, and we'll hope to get more information to you as soon as we can. But I'll send it back to you now, Vicki.
Well, Cole, I have a question for you. Do we know what condition the students are in or the people who were shot are in?
We're still working to get a little bit more information about that. I'm checking my notes now. We're seeing we have a long chain going of everything. It's right now we don't know how that information. We're working to learn that, but again, we just know that those 3 children were shot. Again, that's from multiple sources, and we're working to learn a little bit more about the other condition of the students. And again, we're just working to get those kids to the reunification center. That's where parents are going to be meeting them at Woodmont Baptist Church.
And what do we know about the status of the aggressor?
That is also unclear right now. We're working to learn more about. We do know that the suspect, I've just been told, is down in this case, an active shooter. We just got that on a tweet here. And I'm reading a tweet from Metro PD right now. An active shooter event has taken place at Covenant School, Covenant Presbyterian Church on Burton Hills Drive. The shooter was engaged by MNPD and is dead. The student reunification with parents, again, is at Woodmont Baptist Church. That information is from Metro Police. That came in just about 3 minutes ago.
Okay, guys, so that is the end of that little short segment. And it's crazy because I was seeing this pop up and I was like, wait a minute, is this on national news? And so I got to talking to my baby. He was like, there's no way that this is not national news. So as soon as we turned on the news, it was everywhere, of course. And of course, we got more details from that, being that it is local here in Nashville. So this is just terrifying, you guys, just to think, you dropped your child off at their elementary school. This was a private school that I think is kindergarten through 6th grade. And you get a phone call, of an active shooter. No, my children do not attend this school, thank God. Well, I'm not going to say thank God is blaming the parents for their children attend that school, but thank God, my children are safe and no, they do not attend this school. But what made me, I was going to touch on the story as soon as I found out about it, but what really made me want to touch on the story was when my daughter's grandmother reached out to me and asked me, were we okay, and made sure that I responded back to her. So I made sure I immediately responded back to her that her granddaughter was okay, and that we were all okay. So this is terrible. We've learned, before I go into what, let you guys actually see the video of the press conference and all that going on, I just want to say that it was 3 children that were hit, and I don't even think they made it to the hospital. They were already, not responsive before they even arrived to the hospital. There were also 3 other adults, and there's also a female shooter who's also unalived as well. And at first they were saying that it looked like it was a female teen. And so I was like, oh, wow, a teenager, has done this. She had AK rifles and other things, but turns out it was a 28-year-old female, which doesn't excuse her behavior, but it wasn't a teen, but that's just how young the person looked. And I can, relate, because I was in the hair store, and the girl thought I had turned 27 on my birthday, and I was actually turning 41. So the suspect is a 28-year-old female, which is also mind-blowing to me. And they're stating that she shot her way into the school. So like she was going to get into the school by all means possible. It seems the call was made to the police around 10:13, and I think she was taken care of by 10:27. But we're gonna watch that video in just a moment, and I'm gonna start it from one point, and I'm gonna rewind it back to another point, and then go to another point, to make sure that I'm staying within the fair use guidelines. I'm live on Facebook as well, and so I know I can share this from Facebook, but I'm not sure about YouTube. So fair use. This is not my information, of course, but this is breaking news here in Nashville, so I wanted to share it with you guys. Okay, this is where I want to actually share the video from, like started from. So, and then we'll go back and we can discuss this part after he says what he has to say.
I'm Don Aaron with the Nashville Police Department. I'm going to give you a law enforcement overview of what's happened this morning. With me is Kendra Loney from the Nashville Fire Department. Has occurred. There will be more from this spot later in the morning with Chief John Drake and others. At 10:13 this morning, the police department received a call of an active shooter inside Covenant School, Covenant Presbyterian Church. The police department response was swift. Officers entered the first story of the school, began clearing it. They heard shots coming from the second level. They immediately went to the gunfire. When the officers got to the second level, they saw a shooter, a female, who was firing. The officers engaged her. She was fatally shot by responding police officers. There was a 5-member team who was on the second floor at that time. 2 individuals from that 5-member team opened fire on the shooter. We know at this point that this shooter is a female. She appears to be in her teens, although her identification has not been confirmed at this juncture. We know that she was armed with at least 2 assault-type rifles and a handgun. We are efforting now to identify her.
Okay, guys, I just wanted to pause right there and just make sure that you guys heard what he said. So basically, he said, they got the call around 10:13, and as I said, he talked about the shooting, and he also mentioned that it appears to be a teenage girl. And as I've already told you guys, they have identified that it was not a teen girl, but actually a 28-year-old female. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this were their thoughts this morning. Like, this is actually live, like now on the news, but we're in between the live, so this isn't the actual live part that they're on at the moment. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys heard that part.
She entered the school through a side entrance and traversed her way from the first floor to the second floor, firing multiple shots. We now know that there are 3 students who were fatally wounded, as well as 3 adults inside the school. We are working to identify those victims. Including the shooter, a total of 7 persons were killed as a result of this morning's incident at the school. By 10:27, the shooter was deceased. The officers had engaged the shooter by 10:27, and she was deceased. Again, I said the first call came in at 10:13 this morning. We'll have more details to give you later in the morning. Chief Drake will be here in a bit. Now, Kendra Loney from Nashville Fire.
Fire department crews are dispatched for active shooter incidents as well, for medical support, but also for an RTF response, which is a rescue task force response to go in alongside of MNPD response. Our crews were right there on the scene to provide medical aid to any survivors, but also be there for victims so that we could try life-saving efforts in this case. So we went in as soon as it was safe for our responders to do so, to try to provide life-saving efforts for those that were impacted by this incident and this tragedy. Our crews were able to be on scene to pull out those that had viable signs of life, those that were still showing the option to be saved. And we did make transport of 3 individuals and 3 children, and then 2 adults that were taken from the scene. Our crews then set up a reunification unit. That reunification unit is at 2100 Woodmont Boulevard. That's where parents can go to be reunited with their children. All of the remaining students were able to be escorted out of the building with faculty and staff. We're not sure about the processes that they had in place, but we were on scene to help them mitigate anyone from seeing exactly what else was going on, but we're sure that they heard the chaos that was surrounding this. So we do have mental health specialists and professionals that are at that reunification site for both the students and the families that are going to be affected by this today. Our OEM units were able to provide buses to make transport from the Covenant School to the reunification site. We had one bus that carried 74 students and faculty staff members to the reunification site, and an additional bus that had 34 students on them. So all of those persons were carried. It was difficult for us to kind of identify who was just there as part of staff for the church versus who was there for the school, because it's all housed in one building. But at this time, we were able to get that number of persons transported out of the building and into that reunification site. So that is where parents can go to be reunited with their students. There is a hotline being set up for parents to call, but right now that is where they should go, 2100 Woodmont Boulevard, which is Woodmont Baptist Church. Additionally, we do have a debriefing site set up for on-staff or personnel who are working this incident, and there are mental health professionals set up there for them as well. There was one police officer that was injured with a hand injury as a result of making an attack on this incident. But other than that, there have been no additional injuries to first responders or personnel responding to this. And as Don mentioned earlier, we will have further updates coming later on in the afternoon.
So on a typical day, there would be about 209.
Okay, guys, I just want to touch base with you guys on what was said. So she was a part of the fire department, and she was just letting you know how many students were transported to a relocation site, basically where they can reunite with their parents, you know, and their loved ones. Like, this is so heartbreaking, because I can only imagine being a parent going to that site looking for my child, and I don't never see my child. So, and she also stated that, as you heard, it was 3 children that were transported as well as 2 adults. And it looks like the 3rd adult was the wounded police officer that had a hand wound. And of course, the 7th person would be the actual suspect, the female suspect. Like, this is mind blowing to me. So now I'm waiting to hear like the race of the female suspect. That's what I would like to hear. So I'm going to continue on with this video, and then we're going to go back to a part that I want you guys to hear.
Students inside the school, and approximately
To be additional.
So on a typical day, there would be about 209 students inside the school, and approximately 40 to 50 staff members, about 42 staff members. I'll take just a couple of questions before we go back.
So the 7 dead, and then the nature of injuries, how many injuries do you know? That you're being treated still, or injuries? I know first responders for it.
An officer had a wound from cut glass. That is the only other injury that I'm aware of. The 3 students are deceased. The 3 students who were shot are deceased. 3 staff members who were shot are deceased. That's a total of 6 victims. And then you have the shooter, who was engaged by 2 of our police officers, part of a 5-member team, and she is deceased, for a total of 7 individuals. There are no other gunshot victims, non-lethal, that I'm aware of at present.
Do you know how many people were shot? Do you know how many people were shot before the police engaged the shooter?
No.
Do you know if they shot anyone after they engaged the shooter? Do you know if the shooter was able to shoot anyone else?
What? We do not know who she is at this juncture. We're trying to identify her. She does appear to be in her teens. Again, with 2 assault-type rifles and at least 1 pistol. No, I'm not.
Was there an SRO or an SSO working at the school?
No, this is a church that operates a private school.
Okay, I paused it right there because I was wondering myself if this school had, I think they said a RFO, which is basically an officer on site. And because this is a private school, which is also a church, they don't have that, unfortunately. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys heard that part. And as he said, the officer was wounded by a cut glass, so it wasn't a gunshot wound that the officer had. And again, y'all heard him say they think it's a team, but as I said, that's why you have to wait on all the full evidence to come out before you prejudge, and make judgment, because he said it's a team, but I've already told you guys that the news that has already broke that it was a 28-year-old female, but she looked like she was a teen. So let's get back into it.
There was no Metro Police personnel assigned to that building at any time. You said two? No, there are a total of three adults. Three adults who have been fatally wounded.
One of them being the shooter?
No. So let me go over this again. You have a total of 6 victims, 3 students who are deceased, and 3 adult staff members from the school who are deceased. The shooter herself makes 7.
So let me make sure y'all understand that. So it's 3 students deceased, 3 adults from the school deceased, as well as the shooter. So the officer that had the hand wound, he was not included in the wounded, since he wasn't wounded by a gun. So there you go. So 3 students and 3 teachers or faculty are unalive.
I do not. There is video from the school that we are viewing now to try to learn exactly how all of this happened.
Can you say where the victims were located? Were they in the hallway, in a classroom?
I cannot at this juncture. As you know, 5 of the 6 were transported. So we will get that information later in the day. It is an upper level part of the school. It's kind of a lobby type area. It was not in a classroom per se. All right, we'll be back shortly with more detail. We'll tweet out, give you a 15-minute or so notice before the next one, okay? Thanks.
Aren't you guys tired of covering this? Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all of these mass shootings? I'm from Highland Park. Family vacation with my son, visiting my sister-in-law. I have been lobbying in DC since we survived a mass shooting in July. I have met with over 130 lawmakers. How is this still happening? How are our children still dying, and why are we failing them? Gun violence is the #1 killer of children and teens. It has overtaken cars. Assault weapons are contributing to the border crisis and fentanyl. We are arming cartels with our guns and our loose gun laws. And these shootings and these mass shootings will continue to happen until our lawmakers step up and pass gun safety legislation. I'm pretty sure this was an unsecured weapon that this teenager got a hold of. We can't even pass gun safety, like safe storage laws in this country to protect kids from getting a hold of weapons that they shoot each other with. Aren't you guys tired of this?
Yeah.
Okay, I paused it there because I didn't see that part earlier. Like a lot of this I hadn't seen, but I did see the fire department statement and Don, which is the man that always gives the statements information. But what I heard from the lady was she's visiting her sister-in-law on vacation, and she survived the shooting, back in July, and so I'm not, taking away from whatever, what she survived and her trauma and all that. But when I see stuff like that, sometimes it make me, and please don't judge me, sometimes it just makes me think like, are they trying to push an agenda to, you know, get gun rights taken away. You know, I'm just saying I could be wrong, you know, but you know, and I'm not saying that this incident is false, it's fake, it's set up, or any of that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, where did this lady come from? But that's all I want to say. Sorry for the losses of the children, but sometimes, like, she just overtook the mic. It's like the news guy, I can't remember his name, he was about to talk, but then it's like her mic is hooked up, you know, and then she's saying, you know, what she's saying, you know. So I'm gonna rewind and we're gonna hear what she said again. You can leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section if you want. If you don't, I understand, because sometimes I don't even like speaking on saying stuff like that, thinking everything is, I'm not gonna say conspiracy, because these children losing their lives is definitely nothing to play with. But I just think of the things that happen to get certain laws passed. So let's continue.
And why aren't you guys tired of being here?
It is an upper, there is back.
Aren't you guys tired of covering this? Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all of these mass shootings? I'm from Highland Park. Family vacation with my son, visiting my sister-in-law. I have been lobbying in DC since we survived a mass shooting in July. I have met with over 130 lawmakers. How is this still happening? How are our children still dying, and why are we failing them? Gun violence is the #1 killer of children and teens. It has overtaken cars. Assault weapons are contributing to the border crisis and fentanyl. We are arming cartels with our guns and our loose gun laws. And these shootings and these mass shootings will continue to happen until our lawmakers step up and pass gun safety legislation. I'm pretty sure this was an unsecured weapon that this teenager got a hold of. We can't even pass gun safety, like safe storage laws in this country to protect kids from getting a hold of weapons that they shoot each other with. Aren't you guys tired of this?
Yeah.
Okay, and before I continue on, I also want to state on when she stated, you know, I'm sure this was an basically a weapon that was just out for this teen to get. And that's why I be talking about pushing the gun laws, because it's like, when you find out in a minute, it's not a teen, it's a 28-year-old woman, not a teen at all. So sometimes I just feel like it's a push to get people's rights taken, to just, like, they're going to be the only ones to be able to have guns. When I say there, I mean, you know, the top, you know, government. We're going to be living like, if y'all have not watched Handmaid's Tale, the show, go watch it. Go watch it. That's all I got to say. Go watch The Handmaid's Tale, and you can tell me your thoughts on any of my videos. I know what you're talking about, but just go watch it. Go watch one episode. Just go watch one episode. I feel like that's what U.S. is going to be, because Handmaid's Tale is based off the United States. It's not the United States anymore. It's called, basically, we're not our own person anymore, pretty much. No rights whatsoever. And if you don't comply, guess what? I'll flip your head. So let's get into the video. And salute to everyone that's watching the video with me. I'm not paying attention to the chat yet. I may leave a comment, but salute to everyone that's watching. This is just terrible on all sides.
Yeah, just very disturbing and a little confusing and shocking as I sat here getting the tally of the death toll. As Don made it very clear, a total of 7 people deceased, 3 children, 3 adults, and then that includes what appears to be a female teenager who was the shooter. All right. Went over many of the details here. It's interesting. Metro Police say they took the call of an active shooter at 10:13 this morning. Don Aaron said that the shooter was shot and killed by 10:27. So basically 14 minutes or so later is all it took. Metro Police with a very, very quick response to the scene to eliminate the shooting threat at that point. All right. So what we understand also is that the way this played out, officers arrived first, went in through the ground floor. They heard gunshots coming from the second floor of the school, made their way up there, and that's where the confrontation occurred. Now, we expect to have an update from Don later. We still don't know the details of exactly how this shooting ultimately played out up on that second floor, though we know it appears officers took the teen, he said, out. It'll be interesting to see folks who were up there, maybe witnesses and the like. The question that I asked, did any of the three adults perhaps take steps to try to subdue the suspect in this case? But then again, we do know now 3 adults killed, the 3 children, a 7 total with the shooter. The shooter gained entrance, Don said, through a side door, made their way to the second floor. One of the questions many people ask, this was a school, was there an SRO on scene? Keep in mind, this is a church, this is a private Christian school. From what I understand, talking to individuals, there is someone there that provides some degree of security. Not sure who that individual was or if he was here at the time that occurred, but not typical SRO situation, say, that you have in metro schools. So it was law enforcement, though, that arrived, Metro Police, to confront. And again, you see the scene here, still an awful lot of media. The area remains closed off. You heard Metro Fire talk about how they removed the staff as well as the students that were remaining still up at the school to a location over there at the Woodmont Church to be reunited with their parents at that point. This remains closed off. It is a crime scene up there right now. Again, Don also mentioned, and we'll be curious to see if and when this is made public. I know there is video, he said, from cameras, I believe, inside the church and the school. You have to figure the officers that confronted the shooter also were wearing body cams, so they'll have that to look at as well. We'll see how that plays out. But that's essentially what we have for here, unless you, Vicky, or Hannah have any questions for me, maybe something that I didn't cover. Yeah. We'll update you if there's another news conference, and there may be in the next hour or so.
I have to power down so I can get on my.
Okay, so that was the last little portion that I actually saw before I was saying, okay, I'm not going to watch anymore. Let me go ahead and just get my video started because this is terrible. I'm gonna go to the end to see if they're currently still live now, and we can watch that portion. Then I'm gonna go back to the very, very beginning when they first, got there onto the scene. I just want you to see the area and how many officers. This is terrifying. What we're looking at here is live scene right now. Like what's happening right now is 2:56 p.m. Central Time here in Nashville, Tennessee. So this is the scene that you're seeing right now. And look at this school. Like I said, it's a Christian school. So it's a church. Excuse me, as well. Those parents are, feeling. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the beginning. Okay, guys, I've rewinded it back to the very beginning when they first, got on the scene as far as when we first see the live. So you see the ambulance, all the police on the scene. Again, what we're looking at now is when they first got on the scene, transporting the children and the adults that were here. Oh wow, I wonder if that's a parent break it down right there. This is so sad. Y'all see that? And again, y'all, they said they transported 5 of the 6, so that means the 6th must have passed away on the scene. And they said, unfortunately, the 3 children didn't make it to the hospital as well. They passed away on the, not on the scene, but in transport to the hospital. And I know that you heard the report say that it was a team, So right now we're again, oh, how did they allow this to happen? It's a team female. But I'm gonna show you the update. Y'all see how big this school is in the area and all the police officers on the scene. If I had to make a guess, this is probably 10 to 12 minutes from my home. This is the west. This is the West Nashville area, like Hillsboro area, Greenwood area. Y'all do y'all see this scene? All this is blocked off. You see they're showing the street right there. I see a big girl fight. That's the area. See, they're showing you the actual streets. So if you live in the Nashville area or live in the Nashville area, you can see where this actually occurred. And you can also tell this is a prominent area. And they said, she entered through a side door. I'm just wondering, of course, they're going to show us the body cam footage. So whenever these stay, I will definitely share that with you guys in another video. But when I saw this part, I was looking like, are they looking for someone else? Are they looking for another suspect? Because, they just walking all around the scene, and I'm like, if the suspect, even though this is the very beginning, you guys, but I was assuming she was on the line in the building. So I just was wondering, like, wow. I don't know. Maybe they thought it was multiple suspects. Maybe that's why. But if you check out this part, it just looks like they're searching for someone. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Don't you think it looks like they're looking for somebody, like they're going to a wooded area and all that? So maybe they're looking for other weapons. Like I said, maybe they figured it was other suspects more than just this female thing that at the time they thought it was a female teen. But it wasn't a teen, it was a teenage woman. But I'm just anxious to know who she was and did they know her. Either way, it's heartbreaking and should not have happened. Wouldn't you agree that look like they looking for somebody like that? I'm gonna talk as the video plays, for fair use. I just don't want to be quiet. Okay, guys, we're gonna come back to this, but I actually found an updated video, so we're gonna watch it, and then we're gonna come back to this part where we left off.
We get the luxury and ability to go home.
Watch the news tonight.
Coming in, Carrie's live outside of Covenant for us right now. And Carrie, I saw you. We're both parents. We get the luxury and ability to go home and hug our children tonight and tell them how much we love them. We know that 3 sets of families won't have that luxury here tonight, and certainly praying for them. I just want to get your thoughts about this as a parent, as a journalist, as a mom, what you're thinking right now, what that scene looks like outside of this precious school here in Nashville.
Oh, Ben, this is so hard. This is a hard day on everybody touched by this situation, for us covering this situation. We are parents. I have elementary school children. I had to call home and say, make sure that the kids don't watch the news tonight. It's too much for them. I have a 2nd grader and a 4th grader. We know that the kids here at the Covenant School are preschool through 6th grade. These are children. They shouldn't have to deal with this, but this has come knocking on their door today. And this is something that will be part of their life story. I do want to tell you, we are here right outside the church entrance to the Covenant Presbyterian Church. You can see officers are still staged there. They just opened this part of the road, but we see officers here, both in marked and unmarked cars, the motorcycles as well. Around this area is an office complex, several different buildings. Traffic has returned on this road, but nothing is normal here. When we pulled into this parking lot and started to set up, we found just a very organic scene, a very moving scene. 3 women stopped, huddled together, arms around each other, praying in this parking lot. We gave them that space, we gave them time, and I approached them gently when they were finished praying and just said, what brought you here? What are you praying for? And I found out that these women are strangers. They were compelled to come here and just lift this school and this community in prayer. And it really was moving. I want you to listen to what they had to say to me.
As soon as I heard, I was like, I have to get that. I have to get out there to pray because, like the officer said from the TBI, people like to judge us for praying, but no, this is exactly what we need in this time. It is prayer, that we need. That's what's going to change. That's what's going to shift. And we are certainly out here praying for every family that has been connected to this tragedy, for the families of every student that is represented in this school, all the staff, the administrators, and all of our first responders and police department. We are covering everyone in prayer because that's our first responsibility, is to pray.
And that's what those women were doing today. They were just praying. They really didn't know each other. One of the women said that she, at her church, her pastor a while ago had given all the prayer warriors a zip code to just pray over. And hers is the Green Hills zip code. She doesn't live here. So she just said, when I heard what happened, this is my zip code. I came to pray. I need to cover this area in prayer, and I will continue to do so. I was looking on the school website earlier today, and this really struck me. I don't know if it's their motto or their slogan, but on the website for the Covenant School, it says, shepherding hearts, empowering minds, celebrating childhood. That's their mission here at this school, to celebrate childhood. But evil walked through that door today, and that's just going to be really hard to do going forward. This is a private Christian school, and we have heard time and time again, as those children were getting off that bus to go into the reunification center, many of them were singing. We don't know what they were singing, but they were singing, and that's what children should do. So even in this moment of tragedy, this school mission of shepherding hearts, empowering minds, and celebrating childhood is just, I imagine, just clinging on right now. And they are trying to do their very, very best. But again, we are outside the church here, connected to the school, Covenant Presbyterian Church. Officers remain here, but this road is now open. It's already been a long day. The call went out from the school at 10:13. Officers were able to take down the shooter within 14 minutes. We are coming up now on 3 o'clock. And this investigation really is just beginning here at this school as they work to learn more about the shooter, what motivated her, how she became equipped with 2 assault-style rifles and a handgun, and what motivated her to get into the school, how she did it. And of course, we also want to know about the victims and their stories and their connection to the school. And that's what we'll be working to do all day long. I'm going to send it back to you for now.
Carrie, so well said. This will be the worst day in the life of so many parents and children. Carrie, you think about that church, a school, so sacred for so many families here in Nashville, and how tight-knit this community is, and talking to children who will be scared to go to school tomorrow if they attend a different school here in Nashville, in Tennessee, and just trying to process that thought and what to tell your children when they're saying, Mom, Dad, I don't know that I'll be safe, and then I'll see you at the end of the school day. I mean, these are genuine questions that our children are asking.
And Ben, if I could just interject here. I mean, I think, you said we both have children. A lot of people have children. We all know that our children, our young children, do these active shooter drills at school. It's not just the earthquake drills and the fire drills anymore. They do these active shooter drills. That's what happened here today. It was a reality. Something that also struck me today when we just pulled up here, they have their Easter sign out advertising their services that are coming up just a couple of weeks from now. Easter is about victory. Nothing about today feels like victory is coming. We are seeing evil here today, and our children are experiencing it.
She mentioned these active shooter drills, which we know this school has had in the past. They were as prepared as anybody to handle a situation like this. The doors were locked. Their team knew what to do when something like this happened. Yet you have a shooter who shoots through the door and goes in, like Carrie said, just such evil there inside.
Thanks so much, Gary, for joining us. We'll probably talk to you a little bit later.
You talk.
Okay, guys, so that was the most updated video, well, on that news station. But of course, I have done some searching and have a little bit more information on the shooter for you guys. But as you can see, is 7 dead, 3 children. They haven't released the ages or anything yet, but this was a Christian elementary school from preschool to 6th grade. So that means those children are anywhere from ages, if they let them start at 4 or 5, all the way to maybe 12. So we're looking at anywhere from ages 4 to 12. That's crazy. And as you heard the news lady say, nothing about today, seems like a victory. That's just terrible. And they also said, I don't know if you read across the screen, that it's still hundreds inside the actual church or in the school, because they're still trying to reunify people with their loved ones. So even though they have transported some people, they did say that there was still more people inside. So I want to share with you this article that I just found that was updated about an hour ago, just to show you guys more information about the shooter as far as her identity. And maybe we can find more as we're on here. Okay, so here's the article that was shared by News Channel 5, which is an awesome source. I love News Channel 5. So no shade against News 4, News 2, News 17, because I check y'all out as well. But I just love Channel 5 and how they cover information. But this information about what they know about the shooter. So before I play his video, I'm just going to read this part and then we can play that portion of the video. But as it says, 3 children and 3 adults are unalive in Nashville after a shooting at the Covenant School. Metro Nashville Police Department has identified the shooter as a 28-year-old Nashville white woman. So we have learned the race of the woman, and we also learned that it's not a teenage woman as they were stating before, but it is a grown white female. Her name hasn't been released. In Metro Nashville Police Department, Chief John Drake says she was also a former student at the school. So okay, so now we know that it is not a teenager, but in fact a 28-year-old woman. It's a white woman as well, and that she's also a former student at the Covenant School, at the Christian school. Wow, that is sad. They are still investigating her at this time, but during the shooting, she did have an assault rifle and a pistol. At first, I thought they said she had 3 weapons, but I guess now they're saying an assault rifle and a pistol. And they say while the mass, I thought this part was interesting. That's why I want to share this part. They said while the majority of mass shootings in the United States are at the hands of men, because mind you, this is a female, not a man, police have identified the shooter as a female teen, which that is incorrect, because if you see above, it is a 28-year-old Nashville white woman, as you can see. So they are still doing, so they're basically saying, according to data, only 3 women have been responsible for a mass shooting in the country since 1982. 3 women, y'all. So I don't know if she included in the 3 or if she makes the 4th. But they said 3 women since 1982 were responsible for mass shootings. And here we are in 2023 before Easter, and a white female is responsible for mass shootings at a Christian school. This is just terrifying. Okay, so now I'm going to play that video up above that I was talking about. And maybe he's going to give us more information on the shooter, on the female white shooter.
NPD needs in this continued investigation will be provided. Can't not stress enough how seamlessly that worked to have a conversation in a decision to be made quickly and appropriately as far as how the case was going to be handled from here. Hats off to Chief Drake and to Director Roush. I also want to thank Chief Swan and our federal partners as well. While I cannot comment about the ongoing nature of the investigation, really impressed with the work that's being done by law enforcement.
Yes, good afternoon. First, let me just say, as everyone else, what a tragic day here in Nashville. So our hearts and our prayers do go out to all the family members and also the first responders that actually made this call. As always, the fire department and the Office of Emergency Management, our job is to support. And we were here at the beginning and we'll be here until the end. We just ask that everyone, again, as it was said earlier about prayer, we ask for that. And the ongoing support that's needed from our standpoint is to give support in any area that's asked for on the scene. So again, we thank you. And from this point forward, we'll just continue on with our mission and try to bring some type of closure and resolution. Thank you.
I anticipate there will be another briefing at or before 4 o'clock. We will entertain 2 or 3 questions at this moment before these gentlemen have to go back to the scene to continue their work.
Chief, you identified the shooter in this case yet?
Yes, we have identified the suspect. It's a 28-year-old female white actually a Nashvilleian or lives in the Nashville area. We are having ongoing investigation as it pertains to her at this time.
Place where she lived, and you have officers there.
We have.
Was she wearing body armor?
Was she wearing body armor? I can't say that far into the investigation. I don't remember seeing it, but I can't say for certain that she had body armor on or not.
Does she have any connection to the church?
From my initial findings is that at one point she was a student at that school, but unsure what year, all of that. But that's what I've been told so far.
Can you give any word on social media, or has social media been examined at this point?
The investigations are still ongoing at this point. Our federal partners, our state partners, we're all looking into that to see exactly. This is still fluid at the time, but we're looking at everything.
Did anybody pull a fire alarm?
Don't remember a fire alarm going out. I was told there were kids that evacuated into a wood line. They had the presence of mind to do that and to go to a fire hall. Once we arrived on scene, we had everyone moved to First Baptist Church, Woodmont. And that way we could get parents and children reunited and then ultimately make the notification on the 3 kids. So. There was a door that was entered. All doors were locked to our understanding, and how exactly she got in at this point is still under investigation. There is a vehicle that was nearby that gave us clues as into who she was, and but as stated, that investigation is still ongoing.
Did the school have school shooter protocol?
They did have protocol. To my understanding, we had, unfortunately, 3 kids that were tragically hurt. It could have been far, far worse.
Okay, so that was that. So that was a little update that I had found. Okay, sorry guys, I was getting more information. Yes, my sound was off for a reason. I was getting some updated information on the alleged, though this is alleged information because I'm still searching for it, but I have been told that allegedly, now I need to get an alleged banner. I need to get an alleged banner. Let's see. Allegedly. I like this girl funny. on for real. Okay, let this roll across. Okay, y'all. So allegedly, and we finna go find this information right now. But allegedly, they said someone said that it's a 28-year-old. You know, the news said female, but someone said that it was. I don't even want to say it yet, y'all, until I find out for sure. Because I don't want to get clapped for saying crazy. But it starts with a T. What they're alleging the victim, I mean not the victim, the shooter, the 28-year-old white female shooter, is a T word. And I'm looking for that now. So hold on. Okay, I'm just gonna go on and say it, but I'm gonna say it once. They are alleging that the shooter was a trans, and that's all. I'm just gonna say it that one time. So if you called it, you called it. If you didn't, all this is allegedly, and that's why that's going across the screen. So what facts we do know is it was not a teen, but a 28-year-old. It is a white female, and she's a former student of the school. Those are the facts. So what I said just earlier, the T word, that's alleged until we find more information. Okay, guys, I'm just searching for more updated information. Let me put on some music for y'all while I'm doing this. Let me do that. We investigating. We're investigating, so hold on. Okay, guys, I found something. It's not her family, but I just want to show you guys something interesting that I found. Okay, y'all. So I found this on Facebook, and before y'all say anything, I'm gonna show y'all where this is from. So this is the site on Nashville that I follow called Scoop Nashville, and it gives you all the scoop information on crimes and all type of stuff in Nashville. So of course I knew I was gonna find something here. So I scrolled down, and so 4 hours ago they had made a post. Now, let me put fair use again because now we back to fair use. This is the information that y'all already know that I already told y'all. 3 children are deceased. 3 adults are deceased. They got their information just 4 hours ago. My information is correct because they have that it was a teen. So all this is not right anymore. So if we go into the comments, you can see, they updated some information. The reunification place, the shooter engaged with the police is deceased. 3 children are deceased. I mean, you said 3 adults, not just 2, because it's 3 adults, not including the woman. Because mind you, they thought she was a teen at first. And right here, they're talking about the female appears to be in her teens. But as you can see now, she was 28 years old, not a teen. And I'm just reading the comments, just scrolling through the comments. And I came across this picture that says, that shows, I came across this picture right here. I don't know who this family is. I don't know if this is the girl's family or nothing. That's not what I'm saying. But this picture was posted by Shannon Watson. It said, "This is last year's Christmas card from Tennessee Rep." And okay. So now we see what picture this is. Tennessee Rep Andy Orglass. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. A Republican who represents the district that Covenant School is in Nashville. And I just want to show y'all that this is the area that the incident occurred. Somebody just said, this is telling. This is not my information. This is just somebody's comment that I saw and I thought it was interesting. Okay, y'all, that comment I was reading, somebody thought it was 2 school shootings, but as you can see, that article had the school name wrong. So you have to verify your information before you speak on it. I'm still investigating, y'all. I'm looking for it because somebody told me they saw a picture of the suspect, and I'm looking for it. Yes, the only thing that's alleged was when I said the person was a T word, but all the honest facts is a 28-year-old white female that used to attend the school. Those are the facts. Now I'm looking for a supposed picture. I have some breaking news. I have some breaking news, y'all. The name of the shooter, y'all. I have the name. Hold on.
Be able to get to him, because now that we're confirming the name of the shooter, we're
This is
getting
the name
closer to
of the
piecing
shooter.
together how may be connected.
And whether that house on 3005 may be connected to the shooter whose name is Audrey Hale, that NBC News has just confirmed to say they went with that. That is the name of the shooter.
Y'all,
Still unclear what the possible motive would be in this situation, but police inching their way closer to more of a well-rounded picture about why or how this unfolded or the connection. Obviously, we're starting in the very beginning. She is a former student, and that's kind of as far as we've gotten. But again, in about 20 minutes, maybe even earlier, we do hope to hear from Metro Police with an update and on their investigation as it continues.
Yeah, we want to reset for you and let you know how this all played out. Police got the initial call at 10:13 this morning that there was an active aggressor situation at Covenant School. We know that they came to the scene as quickly as they could. We know that 5 police officers entered the school. 2 of those officers engaged the shooter. Now that we know 28-year-old Audrey Hale, we know that she was pronounced dead on the scene at 10:27.
And you're looking at video from earlier today of buses taking students away from the Covenant School to that reunification site at Woodmont Baptist Church. And we're told 6 busloads of children made that journey. And we saw in at least one of those school buses, our photojournalist witnessed an armed officer standing with a long gun in the front of the school bus. Just another show of trying to keep these children safe after what some of them may have experienced or been through. And we saw emergency responders, vehicles escorting those buses to the reunification site as well.
Those are things that as a parent, you don't ever want to see. You never want to see a police officer escorting children out of a school with a rifle.
Your heart breaks for every single family touched by this.
Yeah, we know that the shooter had 2 rifles as well as a handgun. Once again, NBC News is reporting that the shooter's name is Audrey Hale. We are trying to find out any shred of information we can about Audrey Hale. We know that she was 28 years old. We also know that she was a possible student at Covenant at one time.
Yeah, at one time, and trying to understand, what the more relevant or timely connection, if any, exists. We should also mention that we're following a situation near the 12 South neighborhood right off Belmont Boulevard at a family home where there is a very hefty police presence. We're talking FBI, undercover officers, all sorts of police. Neighbors report hearing a series of explosions there, possibly flash bombs of officers trying to make entry into this home. This is a look at that house that we're talking about. And we're still working to confirm whether this is connected to the shooting that unfolded at the Covenant School earlier this morning.
Yeah, we have our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley, on the scene there. He's digging into the questions about this house, who owns it, who lives there. He's asking questions right now. And once he has that information, we're going to be sure to bring it to you both on air and online.
We have been following stories all day long from people who watched kind of the response unfold this morning, and the emotions run the gamut. Hysterical, crying. In some cases, people just couldn't get the words out. They're so incredibly upset to watch police respond and understand why they were responding to the school. In other cases, we heard people say, I hid in a closet at the school trying to escape the gunfire that seemed to be happening all around me.
Yeah, Lydia told us, our Lydia Fielder, who actually watches, she babysits kids that go to that school. She was speaking with the parents, and the parents said that some of the kids talked about they saw the bad man shooting the rifle from the school as they were hiding in a wooded area.
Lauren Lowry has been anchoring our field coverage for us today. And Lauren, looks like you have some.
Right. So we've been able to tell you multiple times today some of the things that were going on inside that reunification area. But I wanted to bring out somebody who was actually inside that room for hours upon hours upon hours. John Christ, you said you were one of the first people even in this parking lot and in that building. Tell me your connection to the families at Covenant School, first of all.
Yeah, my best friend moved here this year, and I have a lot of friends that go to that school, and I'm friends with a lot of their children and babysat them, and my best friend and their children now go to that school. So I was kind of, a part of getting them to the school, and I got the call this morning. I mean, your phone just starts going off from everybody. Just
what made you want to come here?
I don't know. I mean, my buddies would do the same for me, and they have. That you just go, it's funny because I don't even have my wallet. I have my cell phone, but I just grabbed and I can't. And they said the fire station at first was where everybody was. And then he said everybody, and then I got messaged it was come to this church, and I was probably one of the first cars in the parking lot, and it was
chaos.
It was unimaginable.
Yeah. So you go in. Were you there before your friends even were inside?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they obviously, the parents would go to the school first, and then they was kind of gathering here, but everybody was walking in and trying to find out about their children, which is,
no one should deal with that, right?
I'm not even a parent, and I couldn't imagine. And there was somewhere like they heard about two of their kids and one of the other kids they haven't heard from. And there was so much going around, so many people saying so many different things, and a lot of them were like, you didn't want to necessarily. I found out pretty early that my best friends and their children were okay, and you didn't really want to really be celebratory, or you didn't want to be like, I relieve a little bit, but you didn't want to kind of brag or because there was people in there that were. One of my friends had found out about two of their kids, but not the third. And she goes, and she got a text that said her child's name and safe. But she was like, is that a question? Or is that like, are they safe, or are you asking me if they're safe? And then it was like they heard I hear over a text that your son is good, and it was just like she FaceTimed. One of the teachers was in the bus or something, and she was FaceTiming with parents because it was like, and you could see my friend's daughter like through a window of a school bus, and she was kind of like, and I was like, I think that's her. I'm pretty sure, but everybody, it was, and then.
Let me ask you this. When you think about today, because you've spent now hours, it's almost 4:00. You've spent 5 hours here today.
Yeah.
What sticks out in your mind, do you think? What images will be the most difficult to erase?
I mean, I'm not even a parent, and I can't even imagine there was the police chaplain, and there was and you know, the chaplain is the one that is and it was a group of like 3 or 4 of them, and they were going around and like, they knew who the people were, that they had to tell them that their kids had passed away. It was just
that one's going
horrific.
on.
I couldn't imagine, and that to hear that about, and I just think to myself about what precautions I'm going to take. I mean, any reaction that anyone had in there was reasonable to me.
Visceral reactions. I wonder, was there screaming, and then was there moments of silence? Was there, what did you see?
There was a very audible screaming and crying, and that was a couple of times, and I didn't know specifically what had happened. Either someone had told somebody, or because there was so many texts were going around that this person is okay, and I heard it's this, and some of it was now looking back on me, we're not that far from it, but was untrue. And it was like, well, I heard this and I heard this, and then to put yourself in that position where I saw her, she was trying to FaceTime someone, and she couldn't, like, I've been in that position, not in that position, but I've been in a car wreck where it's traumatic, and you could, like, I remember the police officer asking for my ID, and I go, there were so many people that were like, people had lost their keys, people didn't
grab their wallet, walked out with other
cell phone charge, very basic things that when that's something like that happens, you just, and everybody wanted to be with their child. And so we say, hey, my son is safe. We go, I need to see him. I need to feel him. I need to touch him. So there was a lot of parents kind of not necessarily breaking the rules, but like, I don't care. I'm going to see my kid.
I'm not standing in your line.
Yeah. Right. And a lot of there was an audible, they said that what the kids know is there was a bad guy that came to this. I mean, it's first kindergarten to 6th grade. These kids are young. There's a bad guy that came to the school, and then the good guys came, and there was a long spontaneous round of applause for the police officers, and everybody was in there. There's so many different jobs from the Red Cross, and I mean, but I can't imagine ever being in a situation like that, and anybody's reaction, whether it's anger or sadness or disconnection, I get. Yeah.
John Crist, thank you so much for your time and for opening up about something that was clearly very emotional and would be emotional for anyone in that room. If you missed just the first part of John's conversation, he was saying that he was one of the first people at this facility when he knew that this was the place where parents and children were going to be reunited. He's best friends with multiple families that have children at the school, and he came here immediately to just be a support for them and was able to share just so much of what happened inside that room. I mentioned to you guys earlier, media is not allowed in there. Media is not allowed. And so we have to rely on accounts like John's to understand what is going on inside places like that. And we are just so grateful. So thank you so much for taking the time for us today. You guys, I want to send it back to you guys in the studio.
Lauren, thank you. We just heard firsthand from a witness what happened in that reunification hall. We heard how parents were reacting. We heard, he talked about the screams that he heard from parents in that hall.
And that went on for hours. It was not a slow clock process either. This was a long, grueling, heartbreaking process for people who were in that room, part of that. Let's go to Jeremy Finley, our chief investigator. He is live again on Brightwood Avenue near the scene of a home that appears to be under investigation. Jeremy, what can you tell us? What are you learning in the last few minutes here?
Sure. So this is probably going to become one of the most important parts of this story this afternoon. We are live here on Brightwood Avenue. This road is blocked off. It's all south. I'm going to swing over if we can and show you what's happening right now. So right now, members of the FBI, Metro Police, their SWAT team are all gathered in front of this house, 3005 Brightwood Avenue. According to public records, that is a home that is owned by the Hale family. According to NBC News is now citing multiple sources saying that the shooter is Audrey Hale. When you look at public records, Audrey Hale is noted as the daughter of the family who lives at this home, or at least owns this home. Here's what we understand, and again, I'm going to show you some video in just a moment of how this occurred. But what people in this area are saying is about 1:30 this afternoon, they heard a loud bang, and now I want to show you the video and let you listen to it as well about what they heard. Take a look. All right, that was it. That was it. You could hear it there. That boom is what people living on this street heard. They obviously came outside, and then we are told it was followed by 2 other explosions, sounding a little bit like perhaps a grenade going off or a soft grenade, something. And if you look at the front door of the house, it's a little hard to tell from our angle, but the front door of this house was blown in. Obviously, we now know that this house belongs to, according to public records, to the family by the name of the last name Hale. And again, NBC News, citing multiple law enforcement sources, are citing that the shooter is Audrey Hale. And according to public records, she lives at this home with her parents. Her parents own this home. We are told is that when people came out to hear that loud sound, they saw SWAT team members running in and then exiting with a substantial amount of smoke coming out. We have been speaking to people here on the scene, including a young man by the name of Bowen. Bowen lives right close, and you can listen in really quickly as to what he had to say about what he heard.
I just hear a loud boom, and I'm like, what was that? And I was just like, gotta go see that. And then I heard another one, and I was like, okay, I gotta go check this out just to see what was going on, what was going on. Yeah.
So what did you see when you walked out on the street?
So the first thing I saw was just everybody walking up here, just seeing what was going on, and then a lot of SWAT people, big old cars, the FBI, it's crazy.
All right, so that was Bowen. Bowen lives nearby, just about a street or so over. When he heard this, he came outside, heard the explosions again, and then saw all the SWAT activity. As we said, we've been speaking to a lot of people out here who are good enough to kind of describe for us what they heard. Listen now to another witness that talked to us about what he heard.
That's what the police apparently said, that there was a connection. Apparently, there's a woman who lives there with a daughter in her 20s.
All right, another one of our very thankful Channel 4 viewers was able to give us that information. Also should cite the neighbors that gave us the video as well. We very much appreciate that because they are our eyes here on the scene to let us know. But again, if you're just now joining us, we are live on Brightwood Avenue. This is a street that has crime scene tape that is now blocking off both ends of this street. And you can see, again, the crowd of the FBI, the SWAT team, Metro Police officers, undercover detectives that forced their way into this home. One of the questions that I did ask the witnesses, did they see anybody leave the home when Metro Police or the SWAT team came through? Nobody said they saw anything. One of the witnesses says that he did speak secondhand to a police officer. That police officer was indicating that nobody was hurt in forcing their way into this home. So this is, as we say, going to be a very pivotal part of this story as police begin to unravel what happened with this school shooting. Again, we're in 12th Avenue South, which is not far away at all from the Covenant School where the school shooting happened today. We are still talking to people out here. The police are here. I did ask the officer who was stationed here, and he said, all we can tell you is that nobody can go in. We did watch one woman needed to get in. She got an escort just to get to her home. So the people on this street are not going to be walking up to their home anytime soon. A lot of things for us still to gather out here, but for now, I'm going to throw it back to you, Marius and Amanda in the studio.
All right, Jeremy, we do want to come back to you because I have a few questions for you, but we do have some breaking news coming into the newsroom right now. The victims have been named in the school shooting, and among them is Catherine Kuntz, the headmistress of the Covenant School.
Yeah, I'll read you this tweet from Metro Nashville Police. The 6 victims fatally shot by the active shooter at Covenant School are identified as Evelyn Dykhouse, Haley Scruggs and William Kinney, all age 9. Cynthia Peak, age 61. Catherine Kuntz, age 60. And Mike Hill, age 61.
And again, we are seeing a lot of people posting about Catherine Kuntz, the head of the school at the Covenant School, tributes online. But we were trepidatious about sharing that information. But now that it's been confirmed with Metro Nashville Police, we feel safe sharing that with you. But our just to think, 3 9-year-olds killed in that school shooting today, along with 3 adults, including the head of the school, Catherine Kuntz.
It's hard to process. We've gotten a lot of information within the last half hour. We know the shooter's name is Audrey Hale. We know the residents of where the Hale family owned a home, 3005 Brightwood Avenue. We're trying to find out the very latest information that police are looking into. We know that they are supposed to have a press conference. They said about the 4 o'clock hour, so we're still waiting on that. And once they do have that press conference, we're going to bring it to you live.
We're going to keep digging to learn a little bit more about these victims that we're just sharing with you beyond what we've already shared. If we can go back out to Jeremy, he's at the scene where authorities are investigating the home of the suspected shooter, which it appears to be that home based on public records. Jeremy, have you had a chance to talk to neighbors about what they knew about Audrey Hale, who is apparently the suspected shooter in this case?
Yeah, man, it was the first question that I asked the neighbors. The young men who live here, especially, are probably in their 20s. They rent here. They did not know who she was. There was another gentleman who owned on this street, and he said that they were aware that the family did have a daughter, and that while he was standing here, he heard that a babysitter arrived, or someone that described herself as a babysitter, and this woman was very distraught to hear that the police were at the home of Audrey Hale and her parents. We've been combing through the public records trying to get a little bit more information. It looks like the Hales own, of course, this house. We are told that Audrey lives here. Again, this is if you're just now joining us, this is where police used grenades to get inside the house just after 1:30 this afternoon. But again, that's the kind of questions, Amanda, that I was asking too. What do we know about this family? And as you can see, we're still several houses, about 3 or 4 houses away from the Hales home. So we haven't been able to speak to people who live right next door, just people who live further down the street. And as we all know, the closer you live to people, the more you know them a little bit more. But that's all I'm hearing right now about her.
Jeremy Finley reporting live from the scene at 3005 Brightwood Avenue. Jeremy, thank you so much. We'll be checking back in with you a little later.
We're going to show an image of the head of school, Dr. Catherine Kuntz. This is her. She was the head of the Covenant School for years. Looks like since July 2016, so almost 7 years, according to her LinkedIn account. And she is one of the 6 people who was killed at the school today, one of the 6 victims, one of the 3 adults. And we're also learning the names of the 3 children who were killed as well.
Yeah, that information just came in. Evelyn Dykehouse, Haley Scruggs, and William Kinney, all 9-year-olds, were killed in this incident, as well as Cynthia Peak, age 61, Mike Hill, age 61 as well, and of course, Catherine Kuntz, the headmistress there at Covenant School.
And this is something that will affect a lot of people. I mean, we know that Mrs. Kuntz has been in this community for years. I mean, she went to Vanderbilt University back in 1982, according to her LinkedIn. So this is somebody with deep roots within this community who likely touched many lives.
Senseless.
Okay, so we are waiting on an update from police. We know that a news conference is going to get underway here at any moment. You can see the setup is underway there. So we're anticipating that this should happen any moment now. As we continue to learn a little bit more, we expect police probably will address the situation that Jeremy has been covering for us on Brightwood Avenue, right there in the 12 South area, where we know the suspected shooter's family owns a home where there has been a lot of police activity. So we anticipate that police are going to kind of connect the dots for us in this news conference.
Yeah, we can shine a little bit more light on what we know. And like you said, connect some of the dots here. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. We know the parents that own the home were not there when police entered the home. So do police have contact with them? What they know? There's still a lot, like, as we said, a lot of questions that are unknown right now at this hour.
And it may be worth going back to Jeremy, if that's possible, guys. I'm not sure if he's still available. Okay, he's not. Just we had seen the amount of officers and authorities standing outside of that home kind of grow within the last hour. And so the question is, are they pulling evidence out of the house? Have we seen them pull anything out of the house? Jeremy has been there kind of watching everything unfold. So he can probably provide a little bit more clarity as the day wears on, if we can touch base with him in a little bit here.
We know it's going to be a massive investigation. We know Metro Police are investigating. We know that the FBI, the TBI is also investigating. We want to get you out to the press conference that's about to start right now. Let's listen in.
Press conference starts. When I get a timeline when that'll happen, I'll be sure to brief you on it. Okay.
All right. Sounds like they're still working to get that underway. So hasn't quite started yet. But they're going to make sure that we know what the timeline is so that we don't miss any important information. Just to keep you guys up to date at home, what's going on kind of behind the scenes, our entire newsroom is actively working to learn as much as possible about the suspected shooter, about what could potentially be playing out at that home in the 12 South neighborhood, where we know there's a lot of police activity, trying to get more information about the suspected shooter. And then also the names of all of the victims have just been released within the last few minutes here. So our entire newsroom is working to learn as much as we can about each of the victims in this case.
Yeah, 6 families their lives have been destroyed. Their lives have been just turned upside down by what happened today. We just want to update you. We know that the shooter, NBC News is reporting that the shooter's name is Dale. We know that shooter is 28 years old. We also know that shooter may have been a student there at the Covenant School.
And we're also hearing from police about how that attack was carried out by the shooter, that she was armed with 2 assault-style rifles, the handgun, made entry through a shooting up to the 2nd floor, continued with that shooting spree until she was eventually met by a team of 5 officers who went straight towards the gunfire once they showed up, engaged with that shooter. For those shots, 2 officers opened fire from that small group of 5 who were sent in to stop this. And we know that happened within 14 minutes of getting the call for help. Police had made entry, found the shooter, and killed her. This, again, is the head of the school, the head of Covenant School, Catherine Kuntz, who we have just learned or confirmed through police is among the 6 victims.
Yeah, she was, like you said, the headmistress there. We also know 2 other staff members also lost their lives in this shooting, as well as 3 children. We can tell you that all of the kids that go to school there have been reunited with their families, which is a great thing. But a lot of families devastated at this hour. A lot of people knew the staff. They knew the headmistress, Mrs. Kuntz. They knew kids that were affected by this tragedy, and a collective hug for that community right now. A lot of prayer vigils going on tonight, praying for these families, praying for these communities that have just been rocked by what happened today.
This is some of the video of the aftermath of this situation. So we're looking at school buses carrying children away from the Covenant School to Woodmont Baptist Church, and you can see a lot of them coming to load up. I believe this is a video of them loading up there because they left the Burton Hills campus to go to the reunification site. And there were 6 buses full of children who were taken from the school, and with, in some cases, armed officers on board the bus with them to ensure their safety on that route. They were also escorted by law enforcement emergency vehicles. So it almost looked like a presidential motorcade of sorts, where they had multiple emergency vehicles on the front end of the school buses and then on the back end as well, to just ensure their safety on that journey to the reunification.
Yeah, we're seeing video of families being reunited with their kids who have experienced just a traumatic day. The kids are innocent, and a lot of innocence lost today.
We talk about some of the victims. We do have all of the names of those 6 victims confirmed, both the 3 9-year-olds and the 3 adults. And so we've told you that we have identified one of the adult victims is Catherine Kuntz, the head of school at the Covenant School. We're learning, though, just by looking over the school's website, that the other 2 adults are not listed on the staff directory page for the school's website. So it's unclear, maybe they were hired on later and they didn't have their names on the website, or maybe they were volunteers, or perhaps parents or workers who weren't necessarily faculty.
But rest assured, we are getting the very latest information. We're asking questions. We're trying to figure out what happened, trying to piece this all together for you.
All right, let's take Marissa live. I think she's standing by the news conference. Stand by. All right, Marissa, if you can hear us, we're ready for you.
Hey, Marissa, hey, Amanda, sorry about that. But yeah, we are just out here at the media staging area. We're waiting for a presser from Metro Police. They told us to be around 4 o'clock, but we're still trying to wait. We might be hearing, they might be announcing the names of those victims and everything else that they've learned up to this point. But the last time we talked with them, we heard from the TBI director, we heard from Nashville Fire, we heard from Metro Police, and they were talking about how they're banding together for this investigation. As we keep saying, there's still many questions here. We are starting to see some answers. We're starting to see those names come through. I know a lot of people have been waiting for those all day and the ages and everyone involved with this. But once we do get that information, we will bring that to you, and hopefully it'll be here in just the next couple of minutes. All right, Samantha.
Marissa Sulik, thank you so much. She's, as we said, we're standing by, waiting for that press conference to get the very latest information from Metro PD. I'm sure they're going to confirm the names that we already have of the 6 victims that have lost their lives.
Yeah, for people who are just joining us, an active shooter situation unfolded at a school in Green Hills this morning around 10 o'clock, 10:15, somewhere in that window. 3 children, all 9 years old, and then 3 adults, including the head of the school, were killed in that shooting. And now there is another scene unfolding that we believe is likely connected to that active shooter situation. Police have gathered at a home in the 12 South neighborhood.
Yes, it's 3005 Brightwood Avenue. We know there's a large police presence there. We also know that police used flashbangs to enter that home, kind of blew the front door off of that home. We know the person that lives there has the last name of Hale. We also know that NBC News is reporting that the shooter, the alleged shooter in this, is a 28-year-old woman by the name of Audrey Hale.
And that woman was a former student at the Covenant School where the shooting unfolded this morning. These are some of those flashbangs going off at the home where public records show her family either lived or at least owned. This is right off Belmont Boulevard in the 12 South area. And neighbors have been describing for us all afternoon what's been unfolding at this home. We know that the FBI is there, along with undercover officers, SWAT team members, making entry into that house. And we assume it's for the purpose of gathering and collecting evidence that could help answer some more of those questions in relation to the shooting.
That's what a lot of people have right now, questions, a lot of unanswered questions. You and I are both on our cell phones trying to get the very latest, talking to sources to figure out what they know. But right now, we're also still waiting for a press conference from Metro Police to give us the very latest on what they've found out about the shooter in this case, the victims in this case, and any of the latest information that they have.
And we have heard from Jeremy Finley, our chief investigator, who has been digging into the investigation underway at the shooter's house. We've heard from him talking to some neighbors in the area that, yes, a family lived there with their daughter, but not really getting a good sense for how that family was perceived or received among neighbors.
Yeah, a lot of neighbors really don't know right now, and a lot of neighbors might not be home right now, or even have put the connection is our neighbor is the one, or our neighborhood is being searched right now in connection with the shooting. A lot of people may not have put that together if they're at work right now.
Right, exactly. All right, Courtney Allen has been covering this all day for us, predominantly live from the scene. Courtney, what's the latest at this hour from where you are?
Marius, Amanda, the latest is that they have finally reopened the road back leading to the school. I'm going to step out of the way so you can take a look. This is the entrance to the school, Covenant Presbyterian Church. It goes up to the Covenant School. You can see a Metro Police car that is sitting there blocking actual entrance to the school, the driveway, and Toyota Land Cruiser backing up now. They have not been letting anyone in or out of the school. And I know that that's a big question a lot of people have, is how the suspected shooter, which NBC News has identified as Audrey Hale, how she got in. I know that Metro Police are saying that she went in through a side entrance, made her way through 2 stories of the school, killing 6 people along the way. One of them, well, all of them have been identified now, but one we know was the head of the school, 61-year-old Catherine Kuntz. That's a big question that I know Metro Police are working to identify. Hopefully we get some of those answers in the upcoming news conference. But other than that, right now, there's not a lot going on in terms of families out here, right? That's something that we saw right when we got out here. Was this area was swarmed with families, parents driving to school, trying to make sure that their children are okay. Right now, the only on scene is law enforcement as well as the media. There's many news crews here trying to cover every single angle of this story, as are we, and we're working to get you the very latest information on this. When we have more updates from the scene, we'll bring it to you. Marius, Amanda.
All right, Courtney, reporting live for us at this hour. Courtney, thank you. We're still just trying to learn as much as we can about some of the victims. We know that police have now officially come forward and named them. And here are their names: 3 9-year-old children, Evelyn Deekhouse, Hallie Scruggs, and William Kinney. We also know that 3 adults were killed in this shooting this morning at the Covenant School. Their names are Mike Hill, Cynthia Peak, and Catherine Kuntz. We are learning that Catherine Kuntz was the head of the school. She's been there, according to her LinkedIn page, since 2016. And before that was at Christ Presbyterian Academy, all the way back in 1982, went to Vanderbilt University. So we're talking about a woman with deep ties and connections to the community whose passing will no doubt affect so many people.
A lot of people will, they've already started coming forth, expressing condolences and talking about how Mrs. Kuntz touched the lives of many people in this community.
Yeah, I've been getting messages on my phone saying, I knew her, my friends knew her, and what an incredible and special person. And we no doubt expect those messages to continue. If you're just joining us, we've been waiting for the past 15 minutes or so for this updated news briefing that was supposed to happen around 4. This is a live look for you. You can see all the crews appear to be set up and ready to learn as much as possible about where investigators are now at in their investigation as these new developments at the suspected shooter's family home are unfolding. So we're expecting them to kind of piece all of this together. Don Aaron is approaching the podium now, so let's see if he's ready to start.
At this point, we're going to hear from Mayor John Cooper. Chief Drake is also here, as well as Chief Swan and District Attorney Funk. At this time, Mayor John Cooper.
Well, thank you, Don. Laura and I want to express our grief and our city's grief on this unexpected day, this worst day. But let us love each other and support each other and hug each other and pray for each other and pray for our families. But also let us praise our first responders. 14 minutes, I believe under fire, running to gunfire. And then I want to thank the seamless response for federal and state authorities from our police and fire department. So this morning I was in Boston to see my own son's sporting event. Now I am overwhelmed at the thought of the loss of these families, of the future lost by these children and their families. And the leading cause of kids get death now is guns and gunfire. And that is unacceptable. But I want to thank the fast response of our officers. Guns are quick. They don't give you much time. So even in a remarkably fast response, there was not enough time. And those guns stole precious lives from us today in Nashville. And in this dark hour, let us support each other. Let us go and hug our children a little bit closer tonight. And thank you all for being here. And I want to ask Chief Drake to come and give us an update.
Thank you, Mayor Cooper. Again, thank you all for being here. Just an update from today's press conference. We've identified the shooter as Audrey Hale, 28-year-old female that lived in the Nashville area. We have investigations ongoing now at the residence at Wood Avenue. And we have made contact with the father that lived at that residence and are putting the information. We've also determined there were maps drawn of the school in detail of surveillance, entry points, etc. We know and believe that entry was gained through shooting through one of the doors is how they actually got into the school. I want to take the time to at least say, and I won't say the victims' names, I'll let Don say that, but out of the 6 victims, 3 adults, 3 of those were children. 2 of them were age 9. 1 was 8, about to be 9. All the families have been contacted. The victims' families have been contacted as well. My thoughts and prayers go out to the family. When we send our kids to school or to any place of safety, we expect them to live, learn, have fun, and come back from that day's experience. We don't anticipate things like this. And I want to say thank you to our partners, to Chief Swan, to Glenn Funk, to our mayor for his support, to our federal partners. But also I want to say thank you to our first responders who got there and immediately went in and addressed the threat of someone that had multiple round ammunition, prepared for a confrontation with law enforcement, prepared to do more harm than was actually done, and we were able to stop the threat, and unfortunately, 6 victims. So my thoughts and prayers again, but the praise go to the men and women. As I've said before, we would not wait. I would stay with every come here in this city, but we would never wait to make entry and to go in and to stop a threat, especially when it deals with our children. So thank you. Good night. Just me.
I'm going to go over the victims' names with you now. The 3 9-year-olds who were killed: Evelyn Dickhouse, William Kenny, Hallie Scruggs. 3 adults: Mike Hill, a custodian, age 61, Cynthia Peak, to my understanding, a substitute teacher, age 61, and Catherine Kuntz, age 60. As Chief Drake said, we have identified the active shooter as Audrey Elizabeth Hale, age 28. We'll take just a few questions if you have any.
Don, do you believe that she was a former student?
Yes, we do. Chief, you want to address that?
Yes, from our investigations tell us that she was a former student at the school. I don't know what grade she's attended or grades, but we do firmly believe she was a student there.
She identifies transgender.
She does identify as transgender, yes.
Is there any reason to believe the shooter first went to the church before going to the school?
I can't give you that information. Should we know that the minute the calls came in, we responded to the church, so to the school.
To the school.
Yeah.
Was there 2 officers that went in when they first got there? How many there
So it was 5 officers that immediately went in and addressed. We have video that we're going to release, but you can see in the video, you can hear gunfire going on as they're in the school. They address the threat and take that threat down.
And Chief, what do we know about her weapons?
So we know there were 2 AR-style weapons, one a rifle, another was an AR-style pistol, and the other was a handgun. We believe 2 of those may have been obtained legally, locally here.
Can you confirm that one of the adult victims, Catherine Cooks, was head of the school?
Was what?
Was head of the school?
There was some, I don't know her exact capacity within the school, but it was higher up in the echelon.
And were any of the children victims related to any of the school staff?
Unsure. I believe one may have been, but I can't confirm that.
Did the shooter have any criminal history at all?
No history at all.
And no motive at this point? Anything discovered in the apartment or house?
No, we have a manifesto. We have some writings that we're going over that pertain to this date, the actual incident. We have a map drawn out of how this was all going to take place. There's right now a theory of that we may be able to talk about later, but it's not confirmed, and so we'll put that out as soon as we can.
And Chief, is there any reason to believe that how she identifies you would like?
I'm sorry, I knocked someone's mic over. I didn't hear you say that again, sir.
Is there any reason to believe that how she identifies has any motive for targeting the school?
We can give you that at a later time. There is some theory to that. We're investigating all the leads, and once we know exactly, we'll let you know.
So was this a targeted attack?
It was.
Do we know about a history of transgender man or woman?
Don't know any history of mental illness at this time, but we are looking at that as the investigation is ongoing. And I'm sorry.
She identifies as a transgender man or woman?
Woman.
Was it the only school that was targeted?
It was the only school that was targeted. There was another location that was mentioned, but because of a threat assessment by the suspect, too much security, they decided not to. And that area was here in Nashville, so we're continuing with that investigation as well. Right now, we believe it's a lone assailant, and we don't anticipate any further damage at this time, but we're still investigating.
The Brightwood address, she lived there with her parents? Or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Okay, thank you.
So the scene is going to be processed throughout the night, probably into tomorrow. This is an extensive scene. As you know, she entered the building, which is one structure. The church and the school are in one building. She entered on the lower floor. There were shots far. She went to the upper level, and it was on the upper level where she was confronted by police and killed. The scene processing will take place over at least 2 days, today and tomorrow. And we'll have more details for you, including the release of video, perhaps tonight, but if not tonight, certainly tomorrow. Thank you.
Looks like Metro Police are wrapping up their news conference there, and a couple of things stand out. So we are definitely learning more here. They have identified the shooter as Audrey Hale, a 28-year-old female. They say that they have found in her family home maps indicating entry points to the school and a manifesto of sorts about what was supposed to unfold or what did unfold today, and that they do have a working theory on a motive, but they're not yet ready to release that.
They also have video that they're going to release as well. He says up to 2 days, maybe tonight, if not at earliest tomorrow morning, they're going to release that video. They also said that it was a lone assailant, just one person with a manifesto that did these crimes.
And they do say that this is a targeted attack. They have made contact with the suspected shooter's father. Apparently, they all live together at this home that we've been bringing you live reports from. Our chief investigator, Jeremy Finley, has been telling us about some of the activity unfolding at that location in the 12 South neighborhood. And so they have made contact with the father who lived at the home. They're hoping that they can learn a little bit more through interviews with the dad. But we've also learned a little bit more about the other adult victims in this case.
Yeah, we know that Mike Hill, 61, was a custodian at the school. We also know that Cynthia Peak, also age 61, was a substitute teacher there, two of the adult victims that passed away.
This is just a lot to digest. So if you're just joining us, we have been following all day a shooting that unfolded at the Covenant School. It's pre-K through 6th grade in Green Hills, a private school. 3 children, all age 9. One of them was about to turn 9, are dead in this shooting, and 3 adults as well, including the head of the school.
We know their names. I'll give them to you now. Evelyn Dickhouse, age 9. Haley Scruggs, 9 years old. William Kinney, also 9. Mike Hill, the custodian we talked about, was 61 years of age. Cynthia Peak, the substitute teacher that was there today, 61 years old. And Catherine Kuntz, the head mistress, there, 60 years old.
And we know a lot of families are going to be faced with a really difficult task if they haven't already been faced with it yet today. How do I talk to my own children about what happened? How do we have those conversations? And more importantly, how do I support them? And this is something that Joylyn Bukovac, one of our reporters who has been covering this for us all morning long, has a pretty close connection to. She's been through this before herself.
Yeah, Joylyn, we want to send it out to you. And I mean, you can put a perspective on this that a lot of us just can't even grasp.
Yeah, I was actually in middle school whenever I experienced my school shooting that happened. It happened about 13 years ago. And it's a shame that this is a conversation that we need to talk about. It was Discovery Middle School, what you're seeing on your screen right there. And I was in 8th grade at the time, and a student opened fire during break. I was in that hallway, and one of my peers was shot and killed, unfortunately. I think about him and his family often. My prayers are constantly with them, and it's something that I relive pretty often. It's something that sticks with you. And just going through that shock as well, whenever you hear shots ring out at a school, a place that you're supposed to feel safe, my mind didn't even go to shots fired at first. I thought a balloon popped. And then once people were yelling, he's been shot, he's been shot. And sure enough, one of my peers was on the ground. I knew, this was getting serious. We needed to hide. We needed to get away. We needed to do something. So I hid underneath the risers of my choir class, and my teacher made sure to take our phones, turn them off. And it was really tough. The unknowns is what was really tough. I wanted to tell my family. I tried to call my mom, and I scared her since she missed my call and wasn't able to contact me back. And I really wanted to tell them that I love them, and I didn't know what was going to unfold. I didn't know where the shooter was. So that was terrifying. And just the shock that's running through your body, it's tough to describe. So my heart and prayers with the family now. As parents, I'm a parent now myself, and it's really, really tough for parents to walk their children through this. Don't be surprised if your child is in shock and don't want to talk right now, and that's okay. Just open up that line of communication and let them approach you when they're ready. So that's what's really important for these families to keep in mind. And if anyone needs anything, you can contact me. I'd be happy to help.
All right, and that worked for you. So Joylyn trying to pass along some advice from being in these students' shoes to what helped her. Maybe this is something that could help your children at home, just to have those conversations. Joylyn, thanks.
Well, we want to get you back out to our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley. Jeremy, what have you learned since we've last seen you, especially after police have started connecting some of the dots with this Hale home?
Yeah, we're understanding a lot more, Marius, about what happened here this afternoon. So what we know for certain is that around 1:30 this afternoon, police came here to this neighborhood. We're on Brightwood Avenue in the 12 South area. I'm going to show you why police came here. They came here for the house that you're seeing there, 3005 Brightwood Avenue. That is the home of the Hale family. The news conference just confirmed that the family living there is the Hale family, and that Audrey Hale, the now named shooter at the Covenant School, lived in this home. We do have video of what happened, but more importantly, we have eyewitnesses that were here to describe to us exactly what happened. They said about 1:30, they heard what sounded like a flash bomb or a grenade go off at this house. And if you look closely at the door, again from this angle, it isn't great to see, but you can see that the front door of the home was blown apart. Witnesses then tell us that SWAT team members of the FBI then entered the home. More explosions went off inside. From what we are told from witnesses, that it did not appear that anyone was home, that no one came out that time. The police presence here was extremely heavy. We're going to pan right over now so you can see the number of law enforcement that are standing out on the street right now. This is just a fraction of what we've seen. At one time, I counted about 20 different officers who are out here. The FBI is here, the police member are here. Again, all part of the team that descended here at 3005 Brightwood. The home we now know belongs to the school shooter, identified by police, Hale. Other things that we know for certain is that we are not far from the Covenant School at all. In fact, if Hale did school while living at this home, it would make sense, very close proximity-wise. We have spoken with several witnesses, but as you can see, we are blocked off. This end of the Brightwood is blocked off, your end is blocked off, so we haven't been able to get in close. I'm going to direct my partner, Jason, to pan over again so you can see. This is what police officers have been doing throughout the afternoon. It looks like that they are reviewing some kind of plans. It's hard for me to see because of where the truck is where a truck is located in the mailbox, but I'm actually going to walk onto the other side here and see. It looks like they've got some kind of table set up or something where they can review again plans that they are going over, maybe some details about what they found inside, but they keep coming back to that section and looking at what it is right now. A member of the SWAT team just walked into the home through that shattered front door that was there's an individual standing there as well that just came out, but this is going to be a major focus of this criminal investigation. This is identified by police as the home where the shooter lived. They're going to be going through everything that is inside this home, and obviously, because they had to use flash grenades, they had to use explosives to get into the home. Obviously, there was no way it could be. And I'll tell you that a short while ago, WSMV4 Investigates aired a story about new technology that is available now to schools, talking about how quickly police can move into classrooms, research for I was able to read through the Uvalde investigation, and one of the major complaints found about how response was done at that school was that how long police waited to confront the shooter in Uvalde and risking their lives, no doubt. So that's a key difference between what happened here. This is also explains why so quickly police came to us once she was identified as a suspect and then used every means necessary to get inside the house. Question is, was anybody at the time? We obviously don't know. We're waiting to get more of that information, but it's what's inside that house that is going to be key for police. This is where she lived, according to police. This is where whatever information that she was gathering or whatever details she had. We know that she was a prior student of the school. We don't know much about her, but we are investigating at this moment to try and get more information. But you can see now that the police officers are once again, and the SWAT team members are going inside the house, trying to get as many details as they can. Using a flash grenade like that, they know what they risk. They know that they risk damaging anything inside just to get inside, but these men and women are professionals, and they know that if they have to get inside, they have to get in quick. We also hear from witnesses that they heard repeated explosions inside, so it is unclear if they needed to try to get into other locations. We hope to get some more information about that in the next press briefing. The cars coming through this neighborhood right now, pulling right up in front. You heard it just then. That was the sound that police and witnesses described hearing was that sound, that loud pop, and it was so loud. Several of the witnesses that we spoke with said that they could feel it throughout all of the house. Strong coming through the neighborhood. That's how strong it was. Looks like now we've had a car that's just pulled up out front. We're unclear why, if that is another member of the law enforcement or who that is. We're waiting to find out. But this has been a very busy location throughout the afternoon. It happened about 1:30 this afternoon. And from that point on, people started hearing the explosions from the flash grenades or soft grenades, whatever they used. We hope to find that out in just a moment from what exactly they used. But the witnesses were all very clear in how loud it was, the force of what it was. I have been able to ask several of the witnesses if they knew Audrey Hale, if they knew the family. All of the people we've spoken to so far live farther down the street, so the folks that live a little bit closer, they have not. I'm watching out of the corner of my eye and seeing law enforcement still standing outside, but many of them are now inside the house. Undercover detectives as well as there, so we're trying to be respectful and not show many of their identities if we can avoid that. But again, this is going to become sadly one of the ground zeros in this investigation. Obviously, Covenant School is going to be the major location, but this is where they're going to get a lot of their answers. And in the next hours and days, as we try to understand who this young woman was and why she did this, and this house is going to be a key part of that. We got a lot more questions to ask and a lot more answers to find out. But for now, I'm going to throw it back to you all.
Jeremy, just a question before we let you go. I mean, we are hearing some interesting details confirmed by police within this latest news briefing. They're talking about maps that detailed entry points into the school and a manifesto of sorts that they were able to find, and that they have been able to make contact with the father. Have you seen police walking out of this family home with evidence of any kind? Usually you kind of see them coming in and going.
Sure, absolutely. And that's what we've been watching too. We've been watching to see, and we're still at a pretty good distance. So if we can zoom in with our lenses, we can see a little bit closer. But from where we're being kept back with the crime scene tape, it's still, several yards away from us to be able to see if they're bringing anything out. But we know this for certain. No people have come out of this house that weren't law enforcement. Again, they seem to be gathering in the front at a table there. We're not seeing them haul out equipment, anything like that at this point. That would be something that we're obviously waiting on to see if they're going to bring this in for their own crime lab, perhaps work with a TBI crime lab to try to analyze whatever's inside. But you're right about that. That is going to be a key part of this. If there is a manifesto that gives any type of descriptions, obviously if this woman, she knows it well and would know where to go in, even if she hadn't been a member of the school for some time. And obviously, if they haven't been able to reach the father, if they haven't been able to reach any family members, then they really had no choice but to go inside and use those flash grenades or soft grenades to try and get inside. So we'll be very interested to try and get some more information about what they're finding out inside the house, what they're going to potentially be bringing outside of the house, all of that information in the next couple hours, guys.
Jerry, we talked about the manifesto, we talked about the maps, we talked about the date, this specific date. Chief Drake told us that this was a targeted shooting. I guess one of the main focuses of this investigation is who Audrey Hale may have been targeting.
Right. And I think that obviously that's the question that everyone's going to ask, right? I mean, of course, everyone's going to be grieving for so long as a result of this, but it is human nature for us to say why. Why did this happen? Why did the woman who lives at this home, 28 years old, a graduate of the school, why would she do this to the school that she attended? What sparked her to take this action? What happened inside that house? if any of it had to do with her mental state, we don't know. All we can go on at this point is public records showing that her parents owned the home, that they do have a daughter by the name of Audrey. We were able to confirm that before the news conference. And all of the people that we're speaking with, again, on this side of the crime scene tape, a little bit further down the street, they don't know the family. But you can see that this is a really sweet neighborhood. Right across the street is a child's play toys outside. There's a golf cart right up here. This is a really sweet neighborhood where, you know, people live their lives day in and day out. There's a number of renters here as well. We're hearing children playing in the background as we've been standing here reporting. So this is a very residential area. And, you know, there's a good chance that people may have known them, especially if they have lived here for some time. We have seen no members come out of any of these houses, but a lot of people standing here with the rest of us just trying to get some information, because as you said, Maurice, that's the key we're going to be asking ourselves over and over again is why would this happen? And when you research school shootings, as we have done for our prior investigations, you will see that a 28-year-old woman is not the usual MO. You know, not that matters at all in the grand scheme of things, but, you know, this is, listening to what Chief Drake said, is that he kept hoping that this wasn't ever going to happen here. And now it has. And now we not only have the Covenant School that we're watching, and of course, Woodmont Baptist Church, where the reunification was happening, but now we're also watching this neighborhood, this street on Brightwood Avenue in 12 South, where the shooter lived. And we don't know if she lived there alone. We don't know if her parents lived here with her. We only know what the property records show, which is that they owned the house. So we are hoping to get some more information exactly about what happened here, what may be inside that house in the coming hours. Maurice.
Jeremy Finley, thank you so much. Jeremy has been on scene all morning covering this for us, getting the very latest information, and we're going to be heading back out to him shortly as he as he finds more information.
I mean, that's kind of the place to start if you want to know more about the suspected shooter. You kind of go to where they live. Your neighbors typically know a lot about you. And so that's where he is trying to get information as we work to learn a little bit more. We want to take you back in time to hear a little bit more from Chief Drake, who addressed the media just moments ago and revealed some pretty interesting new information about a manifesto, a map that they found that had detailed different entry points.
Female white, actually a Nashvilleian or lives in the Nashville area. We are having an ongoing investigation as it pertains to her at this time. From my initial findings is that at one point she was a student at that school, but unsure what year all of
this conference within the last few minutes. He also gave us a little bit more insight, right?
Yes.
About how she made entry through the side door at the school.
Okay, guys, so y'all. Okay, guys, so if you guys are just breaking into this heartbreaking story, you will learn that here in Nashville today, here at a private school today at Covenant Christian School, there was a mass shooting where 3 children were killed, ages 8 and 9, and 3 adults in their 60s. The head mistress was among one of the ones deceased, as well as a janitor and a substitute teacher. That is just heartbreaking to think. It's like if this was her, first time substituting there, and she's happy about her substitute job and end up losing her life today. So I'm going to share the facts that we know right now, and then I'm going to end this video. But the facts that we do share are that at first they were stating that it was a teen, and we've learned that it was not a teenager, but in fact a 28-year-old white female, which they say it's only been 3 females that have committed a mass shooting since 1982. Not that that matters, but normally mass shootings are done by men. And also we know that she is a former student of the school. And we also know that the police and SWAT ATF have found her home. They've entered the home and have received some types of maps, plans, like a mistake. Like basically this was a targeted situation is what they're trying to say. They're having a candlelight prayer visual tonight. They're having a candle visual tomorrow. Tuesday, March the 28th. On March the 28th at 6:30 p.m., there will be a candlelight visual for the victims who lost their lives. So if you'd like to attend that, you can attend that candlelight visual. I'm sure it's going to be at the Covenant School, which that is where the incident occurred. Again, this is a heartbreaking incident. This could have easily been any school around here, including the school of my own children. So prayers to the families who lost, their babies, and prayers to the husband or the wives, or that lost the other members who were killed as well. Before I end this, I want you guys to just hear what the White House had to say about the incident, because again, this is trending worldwide. Yeah, so all over the U.S., this is trending all over the U.S. This is terrible. So this is from a source, Fox 17, which is also a news station here in Nashville, where the White House had a press conference about the incident.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. So we're seeing the heartbreaking news of another shooting of innocent school children, this time in Nashville, Tennessee. The president has been briefed on this situation, and our team is in contact with DOJ and local officials about what is known so far. We want to express the president's appreciation for the first responders and prayers for all the families affected by this shooting. While we don't know yet all the details in this latest tragic shooting, we know that too often our schools and communities are being devastated by gun violence. Schools should be safe spaces for our kids to grow and learn, and for our educators to teach. As you all know, President Biden has taken more action than any president in history on gun safety, from nearly two dozen actions, including the executive order he just signed last month, or this month, pardon me, to the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act legislation he signed into law after the tragedies in Uvalde and Buffalo. He also believed it's not enough. We must do more, and he wants Congress to act because enough is enough. In his State of the Union, the president called on Congress to do something to stop the epidemic of gun violence, tearing families apart, tearing communities apart. How many more children have to be murdered before Republicans in Congress will step up and act to pass the assault weapons ban, to close loopholes in our background check system, or to require the safe storage of guns? We need to do something. Once again, the president calls on Congress to do something before another child is senselessly killed in a preventable act of gun violence. Again, we need to do something.
Also going to be a candlelight vigil tonight, and I'm just looking at a full screen graphic. I'm sure it will be one of many, but a candlelight prayer vigil Tuesday, so not tonight, but tomorrow night, March 28th, at the City Center, and it says everyone is welcome. I think there is another. We're receiving, reports of these things via social media, and I'm sure you guys will see them as well.
You mentioned Belmont. Is that what you were talking about?
This is a different one, and I'm
okay.
looking for the one at Belmont.
Right here, Belmont
You see
pulled
that
up.
one?
Yes.
Okay.
So Belmont.
So yes, guys, as you can see, we had a tragedy happen this morning here in Nashville, right in my backyard, where 3 children are among the dead, as well as 3 adults and the female white shooter as well. So this just makes me want to homeschool my children more and more when I see stuff like this, because there's no way, that the teacher actually can protect the child. And it's like, why should the teacher have to be armed with a weapon, where school is supposed to be safe? But then on the other hand, it's the push for basically for gun laws to be where no one can have a gun. So then it makes me think of those things as well. Like, how far will they go to push, laws through? But again, prayers to the families who lost their babies ages 8 and 9. Prayers to the head mistress's family and the other families that didn't make it, as that lost loved ones as well. And if there's any updates on the situation, I will come back firsthand with that breaking news information. I'd like to thank all of you for joining me on this live. And again, this is a tragedy, and it could have happened at any school. I'm just thankful that my babies are okay, and prayers for those families that lost their babies. Everyone have a great day and enjoy the rest of your evening.